Silas, do I have to say it over again now so we can have
No, don't say anything. No.
Talk is cheap.
We've heard enough already before the shield started.
What does the guy say? I gave in the office.
I guess, did I miss some action before I got on? All right,
No.
I guess.
No.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, so again, so we're up to Chafei Amud Beis, the first wide line. Yeah, Chafei Amud Beis, first wide line. Right, so if they were fasting and the rain came down before Netzacham. Yeah, so Taraban, meaning, so do you have to continue the fast or not? So Taraban, if they were fasting, and then before the nets, before Netzacham, the rain started coming, so lo yashlimu, then they don't finish the fast. La'achar Netzachama yashlimu, but after Netzachama, yeah, then you should still finish. If it rained before Chatzos, then you don't have to finish it, meaning Chatzos during the day, not Chatzos at night, because we know that the fasts only start from Alois, right, from dawn. But after Chatzos, then you do have to finish off the fast. Yeah, Rabbi Yossi, I mean, again, I think this is where people get this concept of fasting till Chatzos, right? Because when you fast till Chatzos, so then, meaning if it rained before Chatzos, then you really didn't have a fast yet. So Mamela, you don't have to finish fasting. But once you fasted already till Chatzos, past Chatzos, then that's where the real fast starts. So then, and you already started, so you might as well finish it. Before 9 hours into the day. Then it starts raining. Then you don't have to finish. But after 9 hours, then you do have to. By Achav Melech Yisrael, he fasted from the 9th hour for the day and on. Shenemar Harisa ki nichna Achav. I saw that, or it's really, did you see that Achav made himself? What do you call it? Nichna, he bent himself over. He gave in, right? So that's whole story with Achav and Ezevel and Novus, right? So Eliyahu told Achav that he's going to get punished. He's going to get punished for killing. What do you call it? What do you kill again? Novus, right? Right? They killed Novus. So he told him he's going to get. He's going to get punished. Eliyahu told him he's going to get punished for it, and then he did tshuva. Achav at least tried to do tshuva, so he fasted from 9 hours into the day. Fine. Okay, then the Gemara. Yes, Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya Gaza. Now we're back to the Taanis Gemara. So Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya Gaza Tanisa. He would made a gezerah of a Taanis. The Yardulem Kshamim Lachar Netzachama, and the rain came after Netzachama. So Sarah Lashlu, when he thought he should finish fasting. Amar Le Rabbi Ami Kaidam Chatzos V'Achar Chatzos. No, it's before Chatzos and after Chatzos, not Nates and after Nates. So therefore, they don't have to. Since the rain started before Chatzos, you do not have to continue to fast. Shmuel HaKatan Gazer Tanis. Shmuel HaKatan was Gazer Tanis. And the rain came down before Netzachama. Kisvurin ha'am laimar shvachoi shel tzibur. Right, so they thought, look at how great the tzibur is. They took themselves on a fast, right? And the fast, and then they even started raining before the nets. That's how great they are. So Amar Lahem, and this is a Givaldiga answer. So Amar Lahem, Amshel Lachem Mashal I'm going to give you a mashal, what this is comparable to. Le'eved Shemevakish Prasme Rabbi. It's an Eved who wants a prize, right, from his Rebbe, from his owner. And Amar Lahem, and the owner tells him, Tanulai, give him the prize. I don't want to see his face, right? Or I don't want to hear his voice. Meaning he knows that you're gonna, the secretary, whoever, the shliach comes in and says, this guy wants to make an appointment with you and he wants a prize, right? And you tell him like, no, just give it to him. I don't want to see him, right? So that's not good. That's bad. That means he so doesn't like you. He doesn't want to see you. He'd rather just give you what you're asking for. So Klal Yisrael shouldn't be so happy that they accepted themselves a fast and it started raining right away. Now, I don't know if that's called positive rabbinate or not. I don't think this attitude would work in the climate. I mean, if the rabbi says it nowadays, then I think there's going to be a shul opening up down the block, right? I mean, what kind of chizik is this? Nowadays, you say, look at that, you accepted a fast and it started raining right away and it's givaldic, right? And this is the opposite. He told them the opposite. Shuv, and then now we have a different case. Shuv, Shmuel HaKatan Gaza Tanisa. And then there was another time where Shmuel HaKatan made a taanis, and the rain came down after Shkia. So Kesvurim Loimar Shvacha Shel Tzibur, that it's the Shvacha of Tzibur, right? Yeah. So meaning because it's a Shvacha of the Tzibur that they fasted and Hashem wanted them to daven, and then finally at the end of the fast He gave it to them. So I'm going to Shmuel loy Shvach Shel Tzibur. This is not a Shvach to the Tzibur, right? I'm going to give you a mashal. La'eved shemavakish pras me rabbi, Eved who wants a prize from his Rebbe. Wait until he becomes humble, and he actually has tsar that maybe he's not going to be answered. And then afterwards, I'm going to give it to him. So wasn't pshat that Hashem wanted to hear our tefillas. The reason why Hashem waited is because he wanted to really make us cringe, I guess, for lack of a better word. He wanted to make us cringe. So that's why. So it doesn't mean that you're so great. So then, according to Shmuel, so either way, if you got answered right away, Shmuel HaKatan says it's no good. And if you get answered at the end of the fast, it's also no good. So when exactly is it good? So Omar, so when the Chazan says Mashav Ruach but Noshav Zika, when the Chazan says, like we had it a lot ago, where the Chazan got up and said Mashav Ruach and then the wind started blowing. And then he said and then the rain came. If that's what happens, then that means that the tzibur is doing good, right? Only when it happens instantaneous. Other than that, Shmuel HaKatan was going to say that it's not a raya that it's not that the tzibur is good. So I don't know if he was saying this as for sure, or he was saying this as don't get so carried away because maybe this is what could be. Or was he saying it b'vadai? Sounds like from the Gemara. I thought in the beginning it was that he's saying don't get so caught up with yourself. And now I'm thinking no. It sounds like he's saying no. You're taka not good. The tzibur is taka not good. I don't know. Fine. Okay. Fine.
I don't know if it's not good. But Shvach Shel Tzibur is Mashav Ruach because it's not even a bakasha. All they're doing is praising the Eibush to Mashav Ruach Amer Dagashim. It blows and it's raining. So without even asking, Hashem gives us, that means you're good. But you have no raya that you're good from anything else.
Right.
It's not Shvach Shel Tzibur.
So you're saying that he's not saying it's bad. He's just saying you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know. Okay. I don't know what the chiddush to that is. I mean, does everything? You never know whether something good, right? We never know if something good happens to us, if that's good or bad, right?
No, he's really telling them when the good is.
Yeah. Okay.
The inverse of what he's saying is the chiddush.
Yeah. Yeah. No chanami. Okay, so let's see. Right, this next Gemara is for those that are drinkers amongst us. So Ma'aser v'gazu taanis belud. So it was a Ma'aser that they made a taanis in lud, right? And then it rained, right? And then Reb Tarfon told them to what do you call it? Reb Tarfon told them to eat and then go say Halal Gadol, right? Halal Gadol again is Hailul Hashem Ki Tov Ki L'Olam Chasdai, what we say by Pesukah de Zimra on Shabbos, right? I think it's 26. How many 20? It's 26 Ki L'Olam Chasdai. However, those Ki L'Olam Chasdai, we say it in Halal. Say it in Halal and Pesach by night also in Halal, right? Again, it's not the regular Halal, but name a Halal meikara. So why do you have to go eat and drink and then say Halal? Why don't they say Halal right away, right when it started raining, before they broke their fast? So if you say Halal, On to Amud Aleph now. Ella al nefesh sveya v'keres malaya. You only say it on a soul that's satisfied and on a full stomach. You can only say halal gadol on that.
So you're supposed to eat
Now,
before
what's a shot?
davening.
Oh, very good. So that's gonna be the
Or we
Tosfos.
should have
We'll
that
get
Kiddush
done.
club.
Oh, no,
Not a
because that's
Kiddush
after.
club. There's nothing to do with a Kiddush club. There's nothing to do with a Kiddush
No,
club.
the Kiddush club is there. Rav Aaron is saying because we say in Psukkah de Zimra on Shabbos, right? We say halal gadol. You know, kili olam chasta, kili olam chasta. So, and we're usually hungry. At least, those of us that don't eat before davening. So anyway, so Rashi
Not by when you get up to that.
What do you mean?
Meaning it's the beginning of davening. It's in Psukkah Zimra. You're not necessarily hungry yet.
If you're davening at 8:30 and you haven't
What?
eaten,
I'm
You
saying
haven't
because I don't know.
you're saying you're not so hungry then. Okay.
It comes laning, or it comes to have Musaf. You're hungry, but by the beginning of davening, I don't know.
But we don't care if you're hungry, Ramos. If it says you're not supposed to say these psukim if you're hungry.
So
We're
Elamai,
not talking about Musaf.
I'm saying you're not necessarily hungry 22 minutes into davening.
Oh, okay.
No, but you might not have eaten since Friday night, though, with stomach. So you might be hungry. You mean it's not a full stomach? That's for sure. Well,
Okay,
mine
that's
is
true.
guns full. I have to say.
Okay.
Mine is guns full. It's not a problem for me, right? I'm still full from Friday night. Okay, but for most others, I would think they're not on a full stomach. So Tyson discuss that in a minute. But anyways, why do you have to say it on a full stomach? So it's interesting because in one of the Kehilam Chastais is nice and lechem l'chol basar. He gives bread to every basar. So how could you go say that on an empty stomach? Right? I don't understand. We also praise him for giving Torah. I don't got no Torah. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know. Do we have as much Torah as we should have? Does that mean that every description that we have in davening, we have to, I'm saying,
So
nice
shouldn't
and
this
lechem
be
l'chol
like
basar.
benching then? Why would
What?
it be? Why would it be in Shachar? Shouldn't it be in benching or by mincha?
No, I'm saying that's part of. It's part of this halal hagadol, but since it says in there nice and lechem l'chol basar, so therefore that wouldn't make sense. Rashi says it's noeh lehamar ala saiva. It's the proper thing to do is to say it when you're taka full, right? It's interesting that the Gemara is learning that that's ma'akiv, that you have to be full, right? Yeah, so I don't know. Whatever it is, but that's what the Gemara says. The Gemara asks, Eini, it's not true. Right? He traveled to the Abi Gubar shul, Gaza Taanis, and he made a gzera of a Taanis, V'yardulim kshomim ad chatzos, and the rains came before chatzos, v'amar halal, then they said halal, then they went and ate and drank. So you see that they did say halal on an empty stomach. So the Gemara answers, and this might be very applicable nowadays too. Shani b'nei mechuza d'shchichi b'u shikras. They're such drunks. The b'nei mechuza are such drunks that we're afraid that if they're going to let them eat and drink, then they won't be able to say halal gadol because they're going to be drunk. Right? Since they're going to be drunk, we have to make sure they say halal gadol first. Yeah. So I guess nowadays we probably say the same thing. What's the problem?
I don't understand this.
Why?
Well, if you let a guy have a Danish before davening, he's gonna open a bottle of Jack Daniels. What
That's what it's.
about?
Yeah. Why is that so surprising to you? What shuls have you been davening in? And I'm saying these guys are drinking even before the Haftarah. No,
They're spiking their coffee.
Yeah, some of us are Irish.
Rabbi, the island doesn't understand what it means to daven in a real shul. We don't do these types of things, Yaakov. Complete idleness over here.
I'm not saying lashon hara on any particular shul, whatever it is. But you know what? When they break the fast in the Hasidic shtibelach, they have a Danish and a.
Wasn't that?
No.
No, you're comparing two different things, Rav Yaakov. Everybody wasn't no chassidim because you don't never drink and you don't drink coffee even. So you don't. Litvaks drink l'chaims after a tiny sauce. Has nothing to do with chassidim.
No. I see it in the shul. I only saw it in Hasidic shuls where they actually break it out. right after the in
I'm
the shul.
sorry you ended up, you brought up in the yeshiva, and Steve, Litvish and Steve look also after the Taanis. Everybody has a l'chaim.
Okay, no, okay, good. So I'm sad also.
Wait,
that I
wait,
didn't
wait.
get to
What's
see
a
it.
Litvish
I was
Shtibel?
about to say, what's a Litvish Shtibel?
A small minion, a small quorum in a small building, okay? Make you feel better, Gershon.
With
What
dark
if I was
wood
there?
walls. I can tell you that much. It's dark wood walls, and you could barely see. I would say that would be the same. That would also be one of the qualifications about it. No,
No.
It's certainly very
No.
cold in
No.
there.
No.
That's definitely Litvish, but not the Shtibel so much.
Certainly cold.
Okay, but anyways, point is that I guess if people drink a lot, so then it's a problem. I don't know. But either way, so the Tosfos answers Rabbaran's kasha. The top left Tosfos says, right? The reason why they said it in mechuzah is because they drank a lot, so they said it before. Upsuga de zimra, in the second line down in the Tosfos said Upsuga de zimra, noigel loyma shachris, right? We're noig to say it's shachris, which is your kasha. What do you mean? But you have an empty stomach, it's shachris, right? For dafka Upsuga de zimra kaidam tefila, but that's dafka by Upsuga de zimra before tefila. Shas tefila ain't I say elabed nefesh sveya uvekeres malaya. So I can't say I understand this teretz. He's saying it's dafka by psuka de zimra, which is before davening, right? You can tell, you know what I can take from this. Psuka de zimra not so important. It's not part of the davening, right? That's what it sounds like, right? Psuka de zimra, that's koidem v'dam psuka de zimra koidem hatfila, right? But b'shas hatfila, you can't say it. It's clear that psuka de zimra is not.
So the guys who
part
are
of
drinking a cup of coffee throughout Psukkah de Zimra, they're okay. Right? They got the cup of coffee and they're drinking it throughout Psukkah de Zimra. They're good with
Correct.
that.
Yeah.
Because it's not even really davening. Davening didn't start yet.
Yeah, 100%.
They have the minhag is you carry it and you sip it along on Shabbos morning as you're walking. That's the minhag.
That happened. Yes, that's become the
keep your-
local minhag too.
You
Yeah.
keep your tie off. You keep your tie like around your neck, and then after you finish with the coffee and chill, you start to put your tie on. That's the minhag in for I don't know, but where you live. But
You have to have
Anybody
a kosher
who's
Erev. You have to have a
Anybody who's
kosher Erev
anybody
for
does.
Malach.
isn't that what the
Yeah.
Erev for? To wear your tie around your neck?
But second, Doc, I got to tell you something. Most guys are not wearing ties anymore, so you're off there, Doc.
From my vantage point, I see they wear ties, but it has to be around the neck. You're not supposed to have a tie.
There you go. Now I'm talking about carrying the coffee.
That's not even shiloh. You have to, even if it's an empty cup, you carry it. Can you imagine walking down the street without holding a cup in you?
I was
Right.
walking with Dave. Aaron, after Shabbos, we were walking from you, me and Dave. So we saw a lady was going to shul at 11 o'clock carrying coffee. I said, so even to come to Musaf, you have to carry a coffee.
Yeah, but you see from
she didn't have time to have coffee in the house.
No, you have to be down the couch. She'd just be filling her husband's cup.
Maybe
you
she
see-
had
So
schnapps
lucky.
in that cup.
Oh,
Maybe she
very
had
good.
schnapps in that
Yeah,
cup. I don't know.
you see whatever you see that this is actually a frumkeit because I'm sure the reason that they're drinking it is because they don't want to say halal gadol even in psukkah de zimra on an empty stomach.
So
Right?
In
100%.
the new article says
That's
Kyle
beautiful.
Scheissel coffee.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, 100 Allah say the tiniest.
Excuse me, just
Chaim to all those that are
my
making l'chaim.
Sarav. My Sarav.
Chaim. Yeah.
Chaim. Well, I was by the Rabbi Yoelish's last Shabbos, so I was able to be there. So he came in very late for the davening. So after Shachris, before
Who was who'd you say?
Satmarov, Rabbi Yoel. I was there. I was there
Yeah.
the last Shabbos he was alive. So
right.
after Shachris, before they took out Sefer Torah, they sent around the Gabayim. Whoever had a talus, they gave you a schnapps, and they gave everybody cookies. They were walking and giving cookies. And whoever had a talus made kiddush for whoever was next to him, because it was already very late. It was by Chatzos. So we had kiddush before laning.
Taka? Because he didn't want to fast the chatzos.
Yeah, he can't because he had come in very late for Sukkot de Zimra. Yeah.
Interesting. I hear you. Okay. Anyways, so now don't get angry at me. I'm gonna make a l'chaim on a seltzer. How's that for a litvak? A kalta seltzer. Okay, right. So let's see. Next para. So now we're done with Tanesim. So now we're done with Tanesim. Now we're on to duchening and a lot of other very interesting subjects in this para. Okay, so b'shloisha prakim b'shana, 3 times a year, kohanim kapein. The literal translation is they lift up their arms. It means they duchen. Arba pamim b'yayim, and on those 3 days, they do it 4 times a day. B'shachris, b'musaf, b'mincha, b'nila. B'shachris, right? Musaf, mincha, nila, u'b'nila sharim, and nila of the gates. What days are these? What days do they do this? Betinius on fast days, Mamados and the Mamados days, which we're going to see, Yom Kippur and on Yom Kippur. So all those days we duchen 4 times. Now it's interesting if you look at Nila Sharim, the Rashi, Nila Sharim, second Rashi in the Mishna, right? He brings the Yerushalmi, Nila Share Mikdash. The Nila is when they shut the gates of the Beis HaMikdash. That was why Nila was called Nila. And then he says Yesharim, which is the more popular one that we all have in our heads, that Nila Share Shemayim, that it's talking about when the gates of Shemayim locked up. Yeah. So those are the 2 understandings of what Nila is. Either Nila of the gates of the Beis HaMikdash or Nila of the Shemayim. Of the gates in Shemayim. And then Rashi says, and the minhag was to daven Nila on every fast day. We only do it obviously on Yom Kippur, but the minhag was to do it every fast day. Anyway, so those again 3 times a year on tiniest. What?
Them duchen on fast days by mincha.
Yeah, do they do it in Eretz Yisrael?
What did you say?
I think Sfardim duchen by mincha on fast days in America.
They duchen every day.
No, we
say mincha by Taanis by mincha.
Yeah, I heard duchening this past Sunday, Rosh Chodesh, 3 or 4 times because I missed the minyanim by the Sfardim, so I kept hearing duchening. But yeah, but anyway, so but we'll see what the story is with mincha on Amud Beis. We're going to see what the story is with duchening by mincha on a fast day. So, anyways, Elohein Mamados. What are Mamados? These are the Mamados, yeah. It says, command Bnei Yisrael, and they should bring my carbon, right? This is talking about the carbon tamid, right? That's why we laying this on. If you say carbonis, you say the carbon tamid every day, and we say it also on Rosh Chodesh. How can it be that a person brings a carbon and he's not standing on top of the carbon? Meaning, how can it be that the whole Klal Yisrael is supposed to participate in the carbon tamid, and the whole Klal Yisrael is not there? So Hiskinu Nevi'im Arishonim Esrim V'Arba Mishmara. So the Nevi'im Arishonim were masak in 24 watches, right? That we discussed it many times. That they split kohanim into 24 groups, right? Each one on 1 week, and there was a rotation, right? And I'll call Mishmar Umishmar, and each and every Mishmar Hayamayimid Yerushalayim Shel Kohanim Shel Levim Shel Yisrael. They had a Maimid. They had like representatives of Klal Yisrael who were for each Mishmar, who would stay in Yerushalayim, and they would be like the shluchim of the people, and they would stand over the karbanos and say tefillas, etc., what the Mishnah is going to say, and they were acting as the representatives of Klal Yisrael. So that was as if Klal Yisrael was standing over the karbanos. That's what my mother saw. So Higiyah Zman HaMishmar Lalos. So when the Zman of the Mishmar came to go up, so Kohanim Levim Oilim Yerushalayim, the Kohanim and Levim went to Yerushalayim, Yisrael, Shaba'isei Mishmar Mis Kansin La'arein, and the Yisraelim that were part of that group, and they weren't in Yerushalayim, they would gather together in their towns, v'karn b'may separations, and they would even write my separations. Right now, this parentheses is some have it, some don't have it. Yeah, we'll read it. And because this is going to be in the Gemara, and Anshe Maimed would fast 4 4 times a week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. When they covered the Shabbos, they didn't fast on Erev Shabbos because of covered Shabbos. And not on Sunday, because you can't go like with such a drastic change from Shabbos, which is Menucha and Einig, and to Sunday where you have to work and you're fasting, and then they might die because it's such a difference. Which we'll see more about that in the Gemara. Fine. So Yom Rishon, on Yom Rishon, so they said Bereshis in Parshas Bereshis Vayirakia, right? The Vayirakia talking about the heavens. The Sheni Yikavu Amayim, right? And Sheni they repeated Yehirakia and then Yikavu Amayim. B'shlishi Yikavu Amayim v'Yim Iris. Bervi Imaris v'Yishutzu Amayim. B'chamisha Yishutzu Amayim v'Taitz Aretz b'Shishi v'Taitz Aretz v'Yichulu Hashemayim. Right, so those are the parshas that they read. Fine. Parsha Gedayla Kairin Isa B'Shnayim V'Ktana B'Yachid. Anything that was a parsha that was longer, so then that they split it with 2 people. And a small parsha was 1 person, which we're going to see in the Gemara exactly how they broke everything up. B'Shachris, B'Musaf, Uvemincha. I'm sorry, B'Shabbos and Musaf. That was by Shachris and Musaf. Uvemincha, but by Mincha Nechnasim Karan Alpian. But by Mincha, they didn't read from the Torah. They read about Peh, Kakaran and Shema, the same way you read Shema. So everybody read about Peh. So then that's what they did with the laning by Mincha. Erev Shabbos Mincha lo yoyu nechnasim they covered the Shabbos, and on Erev Shabbos they didn't go into the shul and do these Mamados, right? Because you need to go prepare for Shabbos. So they didn't do this on Friday. Kol yom sheyesh by Halal, and also any day that had Halal ain't maimed b'Shachris. There was no maimed on Shachris, right? So Tosfos says that this is really referring to Hanukkah. We're a couple of days late for this, because that's the only time that there was Shachris. There's a Halal without Musaf, right? Because the next line says Karban Musaf ein b'neila, right? When there's Karban Musaf, so then they don't do the maimed at Nila. Meaning they were only limited to how much they could do it in a day, right? And because they were busy with doing other karbanos, so whenever there was musaf, they had to take care of karbanos, so they weren't available to do other things. Karban eitzim, and when is the days to bring the karban of eitzim, right? Which we're going to see in a minute what that is. Then they didn't do the mamados by mincha. They were Rebbe Kiva. Amr ben Azai Kachai Rebbe Yeshua Shaina. He told him that Rebbe Yeshua taught this way: karban musaf mincha. So let me just finish saying carbon musaf there is not by mincha. Then you don't do mamados by mincha. Carbon eitzim ain't benila. So a little different than the way Rebbe Kiva said it over. Chazer Rebbe Kiva liyas shanika ben Azai, and Rebbe Kiva changed his mind to teach it the way Ben Azai said in the name of Rebbe Yeshua. What are you saying, Rabban?
I kind of heard there's 15 kohanim Isaac in the carbon. So what were the rest of them doing? There's Kanara, but there's a lot of kohanim.
Why didn't they? Because right, so you mean why didn't they just appoint more kohanim to the Mishmar? Is what you say?
Yeah.
Meaning the Mishmar was limited to it. I don't know how many kohanim were in the Mishmar, but you're saying so. Why not just add more, and then you could have more people? I hear. Unless you say that I don't know. Maybe you say that they have to all be busy with something. I'm not sure. I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Anyway, so okay, but I hear the question. Yeah. So Zman Atze Kahanim Va'am. What is the Zman of Atze Kahanim from the word of Kahanim Va'am? Tisha. There were 9 times where there was the Zman for the Kahanim and the Be'echad ben Nisan b'nei Arach ben Yehuda. That was b'nei Arach ben Yehuda. That was their chance to bring the wood.
What?
Right. So again, so what was this? This wasn't after the Galus Bavel. Different. They didn't have wood, so different families took upon themselves to bring the wood. So as a schus for that, each one was given one time in a year where it became like their Yom Tiv. Yeah. So on the first day of Nisan is Arach ben Yehuda. Be'esrim b'Tammuz b'nei David ben Yehuda. B'chamisha b'Av b'nei Pirish ben Yehuda. B'Shiva b'Ay b'nei Yehuda ben Rechev. B'Asara b'Ay b'nei Sana ben Binyamin. That we had a few blot ago about on Asara b'Ay, because when Tisha B'Av was a nidcha, so then it ended up being that Tisha B'Av was on their day, right? When you push off Tisha B'Av to Yud, so it was on their day. So then they didn't really fast a full day. V'chamisha was also by Bnei Zusa ben Yehuda, v'mayim kahana v'levim, and they that whoever went, they took all kohanim and levim along with them. V'chol misha ta b'shivtoi, and somebody who had a mistake and he didn't know which shevet he was part of. Right? Meaning, I guess they, for whatever reason, this family was like the wild card or the joker, and anybody who didn't have an affiliation would come with them. Ubnei Gunvi, Eli Ubnei Kaitzik Tzias, and the people that which the Gemara is going to say the story with them, why they were called this, right? It was the same family, but they're called the Gunvi Ali, the ones that stole the what do you think? The mortar and the pestle, right? Ubnei Kaitzik Tzias, and the people that cut figs, that's Be'esrim Boy, that's on the 20th. B'nei Pechas B'mayav is I'm sorry. B'nei Gainvei Ale B'nei Ktzaik Tzias, that was on the previous day. And the Be'esrim Boy B'nei Pachas Maya ben Yehuda. And on the 20th it was B'nei Pachas ben Yehuda. Be'esrim Be'el B'nei Adon ben Yehuda. Be'echad B'teves Shavu B'nei Parash Shnia. And Echad B'teves, the B'nei Parash, they came a second time. Right? So therefore they had a schus of doing it twice. Yeah, fine. So then the Gemara is going to go through all this. Be'echad b'teves lo yahaya by ma'imid shaya by halal v'karban musaf v'karbonates, because it was halal on that day and a carbon musaf, right? Because echad b'shvat, echad b'teves is halal, it's Rosh Chodesh and it's Chanukah, so it had halal, carbon musaf, and the carbon eitzim. So therefore there was no ma'imid, because there certainly was no time to do the Mamados. Okay, so that's that. Now the Gemara gets involved with the main Tanesim of the year. 5 things happened on Shiva Asa B'Tammuz, v'chamisha b'Tisha B'Av, and 5 on Tisha B'Av. Shiva Asa B'Tammuz, on the 17th of Tammuz, on Tamid Beis now, Nishtabru Aluchas, the first Luchas were broken. Ubatal Tamid, and the carbon Tamid, they stopped the carbon Tamid. V'hufka Ha'ir, and they broke into the city of Yerushalayim. Right? V'sarav apaistamos min es ha'Torah, and apaistamos, he burned the Torah that was kept in the Azara. Right? There was a special Torah that was kept in the Azara, was accurate, and that you compared all Sifrei Torah to that one, and he burned it. V'hemid tzelem behechel, and he put a tzelem in the hechel. So those are the 5 things that happened in Shiva Asa B'Tammuz. V'Tisha B'Av nigzar alav yiseinu shlei yikanzu la'aretz. They made a gezerah that they can't go to Eretz Yisrael because of the Meraglim. V'charav habayis b'rishana b'shniya, and the Churban Beis HaMikdash from the first Beis HaMikdash and the second Beis HaMikdash. V'nilka the Beitar, and Beitar was captured. V'nechresha ha'ir, and the whole Yerushalayim was plowed down, right, by Turnus Rafis, and Mishanech Nazav Mayatim b'Simcha. So because of all this, so when Av comes in, we Mayit in Simcha. Right, which is the 9 days, right? That's where the 9 days starts. Yeah. So Shabbos, Shachal Tisha B'Av Liyas B'Sata, Shabbos that falls out. That now, what Shabbos here doesn't mean Shabbos. Rashi says it means the week. The week that Tisha B'Av falls out. Also l'mistaper l'mechabes. It's also to take haircuts and to wash. Now that sounds mamish like the Sfardim, the way Rashi's understanding it, right? It's not, doesn't start from Rosh Chodesh. It starts what we call Shvua Shechalvei, which is the way we paskin. Just Ashkenazim took on a chumrah to start from Rosh Chodesh, right? But really it starts, the Ikar Din is from Shvua Shechalvei. Uvachamishi mutarim ibnei covered Shabbos, but on Thursday it's mutter to do laundry for covered Shabbos, right? So, and then there's a whole issue exactly, because what happened to this halacha? All right. Yeah. Okay, but we'll see. Erev Tisha B'Av. What does that mean?
How is there a Thursday Shvuah Shechalbei? When is Tisha B'Av? Friday or Shabbos?
No, so it doesn't mean Chamishi. What do you mean? When do you think it's falling out?
Misha's Thursday, no?
Chamishi is Thursday.
But it's in Shavuot Shechalbei. That's what we're talking about.
It says here the preceding Thursday.
It's 2 different.
So then there is 9 days. It's not Shavuot Shechalbei.
What? No,
This is a raya that if Tisha B'Av falls on Shabbos, Shvuah Shechalba is the whole week. Not that there's no week like they say.
No.
today.
What's the case here? I don't know I'm not sure if this is what you're saying or not. The case here is that Tisha B'Av fell out on Friday. So you're allowed to do laundry
Not
on
impossible.
Thursday. Well, this is before the, what do you call it?
Oh, the luach again. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then Rashi says, and when Tisha B'Av falls out on Wednesday, then you don't have to say that it's mutter, right? Okay, but we'll see. We'll see in the Gemara, right? But again, Chamishi, it's mutter. Rashi learns that it means that Friday is Tisha B'Av, and Mamela Thursday we're going to allow to do laundry for covered Shabbos. Erev Tisha B'Av lo yochel adam shnei tavshil, and a person shouldn't eat two cooked foods, right? Rashi says basar v'dagim or basar and beitzim with the eggs on top of the beitzim, right? Meaning even that's not considered. It's considered two separate cooked foods, right? Eggs on top of the fish or whatever it is. And now we get around that. That's why we make two sudas, right? I mean, we said that it means this is for the what do you call sudas and mafsekes, right? If you eat the earlier meal, then you could eat whatever you want. It's just sudas and mafsekes that you don't. That's why a lot of people eat two meals, right? Anyway, so you can't eat meat and you can't drink wine, right? Which that sounds like only on Erev Tisha B'Av, right? Fine. Rishim Galil Yeshana, you don't have to do these things. You just have to do a little bit of a change. Again, we'll see all this in the Gemara. Yehuda Mechayev B'Kfiyas Amita. Yehuda was Mechayev you to turn over the bed, which is what an oval has to do. Really, an oval is not supposed to sleep or sit on the bed, whatever it is. So he turned it over. The Chum didn't agree. They said you don't have to go that far. Fine. Amar Rav Shimon Gamliel, right? Then this is one of the more interesting minhagim. Amar Rav Shimon Gamliel, Yom Kippur. There weren't like Yom Tov, like the 15th of Av and Yom Kippur. All the daughters of Klal Yisrael would go out with white clothing that they borrowed, so nobody should be embarrassed. Not to embarrass anybody who doesn't have. So, meaning everybody got to borrow, and kol hakelim tunim tefillah, and all of them needed tefillah in case somebody was tummy. And the girls from Yerushalayim went out, and they would go dance in the vineyards, yeah. And we'll see the Gemara Vayta, and the men obviously went there. And what would they say? And basically, it was a show. It was a show, and this was going on Yom Kippur. I don't know exactly when, during the rabbi's speech, right? So clearly Yom Kippur was a little different back then. So Bachor, Sana Enecha, open your eyes or lift up your eyes. And look what you're going to choose for yourself, because they were all trying to get themselves a shidduch. Don't put your eyes on something beautiful. Look at the family. Family is more important than beauty. Beauty is sheker and hevel is yofi, which is interesting because when you ask information about a girl, they say she's bachaint. Well, what do you mean? It says sheker achaint. So why are you saying that she has chain, right? Okay, that's Isha Yiras Hashem hitis halol. Yiras Hashem is tishalol. And it says Tenu lami priyodeh, give her from the fruit of your hands. V'alua let her be praised in the cities with her meisim. But go out and look at Melech Shloima with the crown that his mother gave him on the day of his chasana, on the day when he's happy, right? B'yom chasanas is a matan Torah, means matan Torah. B'yom simchas levi, it's a binyan beis hamikdash sheyibana b'mheir v'yameira, right? So the Mishnah wants to finish off with that and not on a sad thing. So whatever it is, yeah. So what are you saying about it?
I'm just wondering. I mean, when you saw a girl dance, you said, "Oh, that's Rabbi Yashiv Zainico." I mean, what? How are they looking at the yichus when the girls are dancing? They're watching girls dance. I mean,
right. What do you call it? Yeah, but it's I don't know. The whole. I mean, that's your one kasha on this Gemara.
Okay.
Can you imagine if you made a new singles weekend like this? What's going to happen to you? right? And much less on Yom Kippur, right?
They'd
So
even be able to put Mrs. Greenblatt's picture in the paper, not just from David's.
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, but
Does v'chaylis mean dancing or stand in a circle?
hold on, I just got to change devices. Sorry, what are you saying?
Does chaylis mean dancing or circle? They made a circle.
Okay, what are you doing with that circle?
They're standing in a circle to make it. The circle is infinite. There's no difference between any of them. They're not standing.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Maybe, maybe. I mean, you're saying they weren't.
They weren't
accepted
dancing.
in the. We'll have to see in the Gemara. We'll have to see more in the Gemara.
Rashi
But,
also. Rashi quotes "Kamei lachel b'mechaylos." That's a tambourine.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
It's round. It's
yeah.
a circle.
Yeah.
Doesn't say they were dancing. Either they were playing the tambourine or they were standing in a circle.
Yeah, I hear. I don't know. I where did I see that somebody says pshat that these are the girls? There's like 3 tainas here. There's 3 psukim. So one is coming from the uglier girls. So they're saying don't look at beauty, and the other one is coming from the yichustika girls that they're saying don't look. No, that's I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember what I saw. I mean, it's each type of girl.
It's the Art Scroll footnote from the Elio Rabbah.
So it's from the El Yerabah?
That's
What do they say?
The attractive ones would set the attractive ones.
Right.
Then you had the ones from the good family, but not of attractive appearance. And then you had those who lack natural beauty and were not of noble family. They'd say the last pasuk.
Okay, oh, there you go. Who do they bring it from? El Yerabah?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, but anyway. Okay, very good. Thank you. So, but whatever it is, each one was vying for the shidduch. That's the way it goes. So now you tell me, Peretz. What does this tell you about showing pictures on the resumes? Oh, right. That's the big controversy in shidduch. Now, do the girls put their picture on the resume? Right? Wouldn't this tell you that it should be okay? No comment from the island?
I
It
think a
sounds
video.
like it should be okay, yes.
Parrots is
Video-
still
But
drinking.
things are different now. Things are different now. No, they can't act like
Yeah, how are they
What's
different, Tom? How are they different?
A video.
We're
video
different.
of
We
the
should-
dancing.
Is this the question you're going to ask? Oh, you have a question to ask Rabbi Ben. The mom should have the
okay.
question.
Let's talk.
A video of her dancing.
But you want to show a video of them dancing?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know.
Isn't
Then why
this-
was it even a look? Because for duchen purposes, okay. So then
Also,
why are we on the feast of-
Irena.
There's Yerena and then there's Yerena. Right?
This is Irena. Look at your pictures. Is not Irena. Don't see anything from a picture.
No, I understand that. Saying there's Yerena and then they're seeing them dancing. Okay, well we'll see when we do the Gemara in a couple of blocks.
They're not dancing. They're just standing there.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so Zog the Gemara, B'shloisha prokim b'shana kohanim noisin espeim. So 3 times a year in the kohanim did duchening. Tinius and Mamados miika musaf. So it's again the Mishna says that there's 3 times a year that they duchen. Right? Tinius, Mamados, and Yom Kippur, and there's 4 times that they say the duchening. Shachris, mincha, musaf, and Tinius and Mamados don't have musaf. Right? Tanius and Mamados miika musaf. Do they have musaf? So there's something missing from the Mishnah. It's b'shloisha prokim kohanim noisin eskapeim. The 3 times that the kohanim do duchening. Calls manshim espalim every time they daven. V'yesh mehen arba pa'amim b'yoyim, and one of them has it 4 times, meaning they duchen 3 times in a day. Right? We have to understand why not Ma'ariv. Okay, but anyways, v'yesh mehen arba pa'amim b'yoyim. There's one day that has it 4 times. Shachris and Musaf, Mincha v'Nilas Sharon, ve'Elohein Shloisha Prokim, Tainis and Mamados v'Yom Kippurim, right? And Yom Kippur obviously has it 4 times. The other days have it 3 times. Okay, so Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rav
It's not
Baruch.
understood. It's not understood of Yaakov. And when does the Gemara ever do such a thing? Everybody knows there's only Ne'ilah by Yom Kippur. Why does it have to explain it? I mean, the Gemara always speaks in a cryptic way. Why is it going out of its way to explain that?
Oh, it's not asking about Ne'ilah, it's asking about Musaf. It's asking about Musaf.
Oh, by Musaf.
It's asking what tiniest Mamados were they duchen by Musaf. What Musaf? There's no Musaf. Right? There's no, it's actually in the Taanis has Musaf. Right? I'm sorry, not Musaf. Right. The other time have Nila. That's what Rashi said in Amud Aleph. Right? Just nowadays we don't do Nila. But anyway, so that's what it was saying. It was and the Nila. Okay, so Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rav Zu Divrei Meir. That's Rabbi Meir Shita. Chachamim Mayim Shachris Musaf Yesh Ben Nesiyas Kapayim Mincha v'Nila Ein Ben Nesiyas Kapayim. Chachamim say there's no duchening by Mincha and Nila. Man Chachamim. Who's the Chachamim? Rabbi Yehudi, the Tanya Shachris and Musaf Mincha Nila. By Shachris Musaf Mincha Nila Kulan Yesh Ben Nesiyas Kapayim. They all have Nesiyas Kapayim. Divrei Meir. It's a 3-way machlokes here now, right? So Rameir holds that you do by all 4 tefillas. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, Shachris Musaf Yesh Ben Nesiyas Kapayim, Mincha Nila Ein Ben Nesiyas Kapayim. Right? Shachris Musaf, yes. Mincha Nila not. Rabbi Yossi Aimer Nila Yesh Ben Nesiyas Kapayim, Mincha Ein Ben Nesiyas Kapayim. Right? So he says that Nila has, and Mincha does not have. But my committee, what's this machlokes? Rameir Savar Kol Yom a time of my like Parshi Kahani Yadayah Mincha. So how come there's no duchening by Mincha every day? Mishum Shikras, right? Because Mincha's at the end of the day. And we're afraid people are going to be drunk, and you're not allowed to duchen when you're drunk. But today, meaning on a fast day, like a shikras, so there's no shikras, so you might as well duchen by mincha and by nila. That's Rameh. Review the Savar Shachris and Musaf to call Yom Eloi Shchia Shikras, right? So Shachris and Musaf on a regular day, it's not Shchia Shikras, like Oz Rabbanan, so there was no Gezerah, right? But mincha nila to call Yom Shchia Shikras, but on mincha nila, which on a regular day there is shikras in the afternoon, right? So goes with Rabbanan. The Rabbanan made a gzeira even on a fast day that there should be no duchening by mincha nila. Rabbi Yossi Savar no mincha Tisha b'chol yaima mincha that there is every day goes with Rabbanan. They made a gzeira so there's no duchening ever by mincha. Nila the lesser b'chol yaima nila we don't have nila every day only on Tanesim. So then loy goes with Rabbanan. The Rabbanan didn't make a gzeira. One thing you see is zikr that there was this concept of going to the bar after a hard day at work and drinking away your day. That's clear, right? That is clear that minig goes back a long time, right? Yeah, fine. So Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav halacha k'Rameir. Here, this is a very interesting Gemara. The next few lines here. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav halacha k'Rameir halacha k'Rameir. Rav Yochanan Amar nagu ha'am k'Rameir. The nation literally is noyeg like Rameir. The Rav Amar minig k'Rameir. The minig is like Rameir. So now we have 3 different paiskim, 3 different psakim. They all say like Rameir, but with different terminology. So Rav Yehuda Amar says the halacha is like Rameir. Rabbi Yochanan says the belt was noyeg like Rameir, and Rava says the minig is like Rameir. So what's the difference between all this? Manda Amar halacha k'Rameir. So the one that says the halacha is like Rameir, darshinan lebepirka. When you give shir on Hilchas Taanis, you tell everybody, by the way, you duchen by mincha. And mandam minig, the one that says minig, midrash loy darshinan, you don't darshan it in the shir, but if somebody asks you, if a shul comes to the rabbi and says, should we duchen, you tell them that you should duchen. Right? Umandam nagu, and the one that says nagu, aruye loy marinan. You don't even paskin for them. Ve'i avid, v'loy madrinan. If they do it, they do it. But you don't answer them, right? So basically, what you're saying, you see, so there's different ways of approaching. Meaning, when we shrug it off when we see things that different lashonos in Shulchan Aruch, but these different lashonos mean different things, right? So nagu, v'chein nagu when the Ramah says it, means that Klal Yisrael has been noig like that. It's not necessarily saying that he agrees with it. He's just saying that is the minig. That's what they've done, right? So Rav Nachman. So the bottom line is, according to those that say nagu, right? So what do you answer them when they come to? Right? It says they come to ask. Right? So you don't say anything. Yeah. So it's interesting because then what do? You just say do whatever you want, right? You just tell them do whatever you want. I guess I don't know what else. Fine. But Nachman Omar.
Should you go to Uman or you shouldn't go to? Should you go to Uman for Rosh Hashanah or not go to Uman for Rosh Hashanah?
I guess, but I'm saying you see that there is some times where there's no answer. Oh, do what you want, right? Or should you make a Havdalah before Menorah or not? Right? Rav Nachman Omar halacha Reb Yosi. Rav Nachman says the halacha is like Reb Yosi, right? That you don't do it at mincha. Halacha Reb Yosi, and the halacha is like Reb Yosi that you don't duchen by mincha on a fast day. For in my time of Parshi, kahani you're down. How come now they do? Why do they do mincha by mincha Taanis? So Gemara answers, "Kiven the besamach l'shkiyas achama kaparshi ketfilas niladam." Since lemaisa they daven mincha close to shkia, so that's looked at like it's nila, and therefore they do duchen, right? Which is quite Michael. This is what you're talking about. So we say the halacha is like it's wild. We say halacha is like Rav Yosi. Great, and how come we don't listen to Rav Yosi anymore? Right? Because they daven mincha so late. So if they daven mincha so late, it's already like nila, and we're not worried so much that it looks like mincha that people are going to be drunk, and therefore they could duchen. So it comes out that let's say you daven mincha gedayla, right? That are like most yeshivas do on a fast day. So then should they duchen? So I don't know. I don't know. We definitely say it. We definitely say in Chazor Sashatz, on a taanis, even by duchening, even by mincha gedayla, right? So yeah. So I don't know exactly how that works. Fine. So okay, see a little bit more.
When the Gemara says halacha Reb Nachman,
Yeah.
essentially what comes out is halacha Reb Yochanan.
Rabbi Yochanan.
Reb Yochanan said nagu. I mean, really, the halacha is like Reb Yosi.
Correct.
But Reb Yochanan said nagu. I mean, really, so the Gemara is saying halacha is like Reb Yochanan today.
That's what comes out. Yes, at least for mincha ketan, mincha gedayla. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's just see a little bit further. So the kuli amamiyas shikar also benesias on. How do we know that somebody drunk is not allowed to duchen? How come the Torah when it talks about
we had this in Yuma also a little bit.
I think when I was doing the avodah, I don't know if it was duchening, maybe. So loymar, so how come it's nazir? Loymar man knows also beyayin, just like nazir is also beyayin. Av kohen mevarich also beyayin. So kohen who's duchening is also beyayin. So maskula avu the Reb Zeira of Amrila Aishia bar Zavda, ima nazir also artzan, and nazir is even also to have grapes, grape seeds. Av kohen mevarich also b'chartzan. So does that mean that a kohen is also have grapes? No, it's have grape seeds, right? So what's the problem, right? So it can't be the same limud, because if you're just comparing nazir to everything that's by a kohen, then the kohen shouldn't be able to have grapes either. So Rav Yitzchak Amakra, the sharsoy levarich b'shmoy. It says to be mishor, to serve and bench his name. Ma mishoras mutter b'chartzan, just like a mishoras is mutter to have a grape, meaning a masharas, meaning somebody who's working in the Beis Hamikdash is allowed to have grapes. He's not allowed to drink, but he's allowed to have grapes. Have kohen mevarich mutter b'chartzan. So a kohen mevarich is also mutter to have grapes. Ima, sitting on top of aleph. Ima, but somebody who's working in the Beis Hamikdash can't be a baal mum. No, the kohen can't be a baal mum. So af kohen mevarich baal mum loy. Maybe a kohen mevarich also shouldn't be able to be a baal mum. Right? It's kishlanot. That and to nazir. So nazir is allowed to have right. A nazir is allowed to have grapes. No, a nazir can be invalid.
A mum, it can have a mum.
You can have a mum. So therefore, the kohen duchening could also. So Gemara says, "My chaz is the machshas lekula Hakish l'chumra. So who says you should compare the kohen who's duchening to the nazi and do it l'kula? Maybe you should compare it to the misharis and do it l'chumra. Which, and Taisus also points out that anytime you have a hekesh, also do a hekesh l'chumra, not l'kula. When it says rabbanon, it's an asmachta midrabanon, right? So it's saying that it's the Torah. It's just we're using an asmachta from the Torah. It's not a real limud from the Torah, and therefore we can go l'kula, and therefore we don't have to do the comparisons l'chumra. We do the comparisons l'kula. Okay.
I think we pass that a mum doesn't duchen, right?
It depends. No, only if they're gonna see it. Something. No, isn't it something like that?
I mean, there's a guy locally in Farakli, the kohen that doesn't duchen.
Yeah, I thought we. Hold on again. Look it up here. Right, but there's not the reason Baal Mum be'etzem is mutter to duchen. It's just that the people are going to look at him. Since people are going to stare at him, meaning be'ekar adin, a Baal Mum is allowed to duchen. They don't do it because people are going to stare at them. Right? Gemara says that if people are used to seeing him around town, then it's even him is mutter to duchen. Right, whatever it is, but be'etzem, a Baal Mum is not allowed to work in the Beis HaMikdash, but he is allowed to duchen. Right, so that's all right.
So Aaron, putting the two Gemaras together, the girls dancing and the kohen that they'll stare at. So if any of your brothers look like George Clooney, they shouldn't duchen.
That's the least of our problems. We gotta first get them to shul. Then we can worry about the duchenings.
Yeah. All right.
Shikayach.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Shikayach Utsiyaka.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait for this Gemara with the Mecholis and a couple of blot to see what the story is.
Yeah.
You look up some real.
Wait, but there it said they had Mecholis.
What?
There it says they went out with Mecholis. No.
That's what I thought.
Where was it? I thought it was Chavtesim base.
I think it's a little left. It's not Lamed. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's Yaakov. Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
I recently found out, I'm by my parents for a little bit of Flatbush. I found out this concept now that some of the blocks in Flatbush, they make an Erev across the entire block. Let's say they'll have, 20 something between, I don't know, J and K and the whole block, even across the street, they put up an Erev. Is there anything wrong with that? Is there an issue with that?
There is an issue.
It's not on my parents' block. I heard of the concept recently, and I didn't understand it. I figured if you could do that, so why can't you just keep going block after block?
No, so the problem is when you have an Eruv, that feeds in from a Rishus HaRabim, then that also could be a problem.
I mean, they're not including Ocean Parkway. They're just including, whatever, like a small, quiet street. They're trying to make it a separate, a separate rishus. Is that according to Moshe, the entire Flatbush is complete? What was that?
Is it a cul-de-sac or a regular street?
No, it's a regular street, not a dead end. There's no cul-de-sacs in Flatbush.
The problem is that it feeds into Rishus HaRabim.
So I mean, according to our Moshe, it's straight up a problem, or is that if they did it on one side of the street, would that be better? I'm just curious. I'm curious if there's any way around it.
They're all problems.
So who would they? I'm curious. I'm trying to figure out what the heter for that. Is there anything to be simulchan for that? I'm not asking. I'm not using it. I'm just
No.
curious.
Here's
I
the
never heard of
problem.
the concept.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. How do you make an Eruv in Far Rockaway, let's say, right?
Right.
Oh, it runs into the same streets that Manhattan run in, meaning Far Rockaway is connected to Manhattan and connected to Brooklyn.
Right. I mean, I guess at a certain point, it's considered its own city.
Huh?
At a certain point, it's considered its own city. Everything's connected. I mean, the whole country is connected, but at a certain point, it's considered a separate ear.
Right. No, but the question is, where do you separate the city? How do you separate it?
Okay. I don't know.
Right. So that is the $1 million question. No, it's really very unclear exactly.
I mean, as far as you know, there's nothing really for them to hang their hat on for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't know. No, there
curious.
is. No, there is.
There
You
is
just have to
something.
know where to draw the line. Right?
Okay. So what's the idea behind it?
No.
Meaning, in the end of the day, it's in Brooklyn. In the end of the day, I thought according to Moshe, it was he said nothing doing.
Right. But what they're doing is they're making it on a specific block, which means that they're cutting themselves off from Brooklyn. That's the lumdus.
But can't you just, let's say you took out Ocean Parkway out of the equation, can't you just go from, let's say, the entire 20s and just include all those blocks in a separate area?
Right. So that's the question. Can you do that or not?
But it would be the same thing as that. It wouldn't matter if it would be 1 block or 10 blocks. The idea would be the same thing.
That's right. No, that's the question.
Right.
That is the question. I wish I knew the answer to that question, but it's and probably if I wasn't
also
so
a problem
lazy,
with Mishnah Stadim, no?
What do you
say? Is that a problem with Mishnah Stadim?
No, that's what it is. But I'm foolish. You talking about?
Foolish, yeah. The cul-de-sac would be okay. The question is foolish for state Stadim. The avenues go into Ocean Parkway. The streets go into the avenues. So the streets also foolish. They want a time that the streets are not because they're twice removed.
I mean, as far as I know, there's a few blocks that do this. It's not 1 block that does this. I just found out about this recently. I couldn't believe it.
It's not Pashut, but yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I wish I could give you the answer, but I tell you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't use it.
Well, no, I don't use it. I was just I couldn't believe the idea, and I just wasn't sure if, in Flatbush you have all the Hasidish or the Haimish crowd. They all carry here, but that's a different story. That was it's the Hasidim never really took on Rav Moshe, but I didn't know if they had something else that they might have been Saimach on that I was missing.
First of all, I mean, Satmar Rebbe was machmer.
Right, but this goes back to the back in the 60s when there was a whole fight about it. I just didn't know if there was something else that they were using.
No, I don't, as far as I know, they're not using anything else. But it could be they fit it into Rav Moshe. Could be they fit into Rav Moshe.
Okay.
But I don't know.
As long as there's something to be done with Kashlus. I didn't know.
Yeah, no, there certainly is. There certainly is something to be done with Kashlus. There's 100%.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So not Rishon Gemara just because they live in Flatbush.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What you were saying before about the 3 psukim, 3 kind of girls is the last Gemara in the Masach. That's the Gemara says it.
Oh yeah, so maybe that's
And the Gemara doesn't say Mechailis. I can't find it anywhere. The Gemara does bring the famous Gemara, the thing about Plasid Lavoi, the song of the Daf. Asra Kadosh Baruch Hu Lasis Machal Tzadikim.
Right.
See that the Machal is a circle. That's what it's saying. The Gemara brings it also. I don't think they were dancing. I don't know why. Everyone learned that until whatever, but it doesn't say dancing anywhere. Chaylis doesn't mean dancing.
Okay, I'll have to wait. I'm gonna hold out until I get to the Gemara.
All right. There's no real Gemara on it. I can't find it.
There's no real Gemara on it, so I'd have to look at.
The Gemara just brings the last Gemara in the parak. Doesn't say what they did really.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right. Anything exciting?
No, nothing. A girl, Taka, I posted today that you give 30 days for a suffix, right?
Saint
Halamata.
Oh yeah.
So girl asked, what happens if I only daven Shachas Mincha? So do I go 30 or I go 45?
You need 75.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah. 45. You're right. Yeah. 40.
Whatever, whichever.
It's 3 plus 10. Yeah. Interesting, Shaila.
Yeah.
What do you say?
What did I say?
Yeah.
I said I don't know.
There's 2 svaras. It depends which one you go with. The one svar, the 30 days is a
right. It's
is a
totally with the Musa with the
Chasher by itself.
Yeah.
Or you have 90 tefillas.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
All right, Andy. Okay, I gotta get on the next calls.
Yeah. Was your connection a little bit iffy tonight, or was that me?
Once in a while, it went in and out of shtickle.
Yeah, it went in and out. Yeah. Okay, fine.
I think.
Okay.
I think. All right.
Fine.
Bye.